few principles. You can have a look. See, basically, see, when you talk about a design, when it is especially product design, you have to think about various ways in which we can create innovative things. Okay. When
Yes, ma'am.
besides taking and buying furniture from the market, it is very important that as a designer, you should contribute your creative skills to the client. Okay, so this is
Yes,
basically
ma'am.
about product designing. And when we talk about a new product, see, it could be a new piece of furniture, it could be just a furniture table or a side or a bookshelf, or it could be a TV console. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, there are certain basic principles which you need to follow. See, first of all, when you talk about elements of design, everybody starts with a point. Okay, the starting point, the start point is the starting point of design. Okay, then comes a line, and after so many lines come together, you get a planar surface, which we call it a plane. So interior design is
Yes, ma'am.
basically a combination of, when you talk about interiors in a room or a 3D space, it is just like a combination of four wall planes and a floor plane and a ceiling plane. Okay, so whenever you have to design, as a interior designer, when you have to design a surface, you have to create some new products. Let's consider it. It could be a wall mural, it could be a bookshelf, it could be a TV console, it could be a TV cabinet, or it could be just a framework for hanging paintings. Okay, so just 1 minute. Sorry. So we'll just go through all these. See, when it is about a new product, so first of all, see, this is from the net. So most of the things, they are nice, so I didn't delete them. But it is a matter of idea generation. So first of all, you'll have to define an idea, and then ultimately you have to do the analysis whether that is workable or not. And definitely some innovation has to be added. Okay, product, when you talk about a product, see, like this is a very new kind of a product, which you call it as the pizza cutter. Okay, so first of all, you have to see what is the requirement of the client. Okay, then you have to design a wall plane or a floor plane. See, even this cap is a part of a design. So you have to develop a concept, and after that, first you develop an idea. Okay, and definitely you
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
do analysis, you have to do some anthropometric studies, and even you have to do some ergonomic studies, and then you later on produce a research, you can say a paper, and then ultimately you do the feasibility study. By feasibility study, we mean actually you should see every idea is not workable, and then definitely economics also come into way. So the whole idea is, when you talk about design, designing is not just creating anything. It should be workable, it should be economical. Okay, so
Yes.
there are certain uh, basically, you can say, concept development sheets in this PPT, which I never wanted to delete, so you can read through it. See, basically, you have to evaluate, you have to see the measurements, you have to see the requirements of the clients, and ultimately, then you will design a product. Okay, so this is just
Yes,
a
ma'am.
thing which was related to it. So I didn't remove it. So basically, you have to see what is the trend of the market. You have to see how you can get good quality. So basically, you have to choose materials also. Okay, you have to see the economics, and you have to then produce a prototype. So prototype means sometimes what happens is it is very important to see the functionality of the object. See, for example, in interiors, you have to create, suppose let's consider a small residential lobby of a house. If it is a house and if you want to create a flower vase, or maybe at the first entrance you want to create a credenza or a console where people will just enter and keep their car keys, and people will just keep their umbrellas or some bags, whatever they have got from outside. So for that, it is very important that functionality has to be given priority. Okay, so you have to evaluate all the aspects, and then you have to develop the product. You have to study its prototypes, and then keeping in mind the materials, keeping in mind the cost, you will come to the conclusion of a final design, and definitely it will be respected only if it is creative and innovative. Okay, we'll go to the next thing. See, when you talk about design, so you can say there are certain elements of design. When we talk about elements of design, we'll start with the point. Then after point, there so many points join together to form a line. Then from the line, you get a planar surface, you get planes, and you can relate all the planes as a four walls of the room, and then you get a ceiling plane and a roof plane. And then there are other aspects of design which we call transformation of the form. Transformation means the ceiling plane can have ups and downs, even the floor, if there are two steps down or two steps up, or there is a level difference, we can always say it is the addition and subtraction of a plane. Okay, so today we'll be discussing basically what are the principles of design. And when we talk about, see, when we talk about interior spaces, let's say the cinema lobby. Okay, it will have signages. See, because people are coming, people don't know where is the food stall, kiosk. Okay, people don't know where is the ticket counter. People don't know where is the washroom, where is the drinking water thing. So signages and graphics play a very important part in interior public spaces. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, this is the best example. Let us just imagine a lobby for a cinema hall. Okay, in that case, whatever signages you give, whatever font is there, the font has to be readable. There are so many people, like it's a very simple example, normal day-to-day example, that people write the numbers of the cars also in such a way that it is not readable. Okay, so font is a very important aspect. Then what is the color combination? See, if you sit in a cinema, especially the danger DBs and all, they have a red color. So red is some color which is associated with danger. Okay, and moreover the exit sign also, they also glow. Then there are glow signs. So all these things, the color, the fonts, the space, the graphic logos, they are very important because they play a very important part in, you can say, non-verbal visual communication. Okay, see, basically when you talk about communication, it is basically verbal and non-verbal. When we talk about non-verbal communication, it is sign language. Okay, by signages also, everybody understands the toilets are this side. This is a male toilet, this is a female toilet, and then this is the drinking water area, and you have to go towards this, the ticket counter, the hall. For the hall, you have to proceed here like that. Okay, so in interior spaces, graphic design plays a very important role, and you have to be, as a designer, you have to be very careful regarding that. Okay, see, first of all, many people confuse between elements and principles. This PPT, I just downloaded it only. See, this has a very clear definition and differentiation between elements and principles. By elements, we mean line, shape, color, value, texture, size, and space. Okay, and by principles means what is the contribution of a designer in using these elements. It is like blocks. People have got blocks, but people don't know how to use them properly. Okay, by principles, by applying creative principles, you can create a focus, you can have hierarchy of spaces, you can have rhythm, you can have repetition, you can have contrasts. So it is very important that whatever elements you have to use them in such a manner that they create innovative spaces. Okay, then materials, definitely it is an element, because material, what material you are using, that again it depends upon various factors. First of all is the cost, second is the utility, and fourth is definitely time factor is also, and the next is what is the functionality. See, for example, in exhibition spaces and all, people create exhibition spaces for 3 days, for 5 days. They can't have a permanent material. So generally they'll use that kind of a material which can be reused again and again, maybe MDF or HDF boards, and which can be fixed easily, and which can be removed easily and dismantled easily, and it can be reused and cut into any shape. Okay, but you cannot have granite counters and granite and any permanent material in that. But in spaces where you have to design a cafe, supposing it's a cafe, coffee day, or a restaurant, you will definitely not go in for such loose materials. Okay, so there are certain rules which will help to design easily. Okay, like color. Color is a very important role. See, there are certain things which have to be organized properly. First of all, let's go through the elements of design. Lines, definitely. Line, it is not just a straight line which you can draw with a scale. Any pattern. See, for example, if you think about a newspaper or any book, in your book also there are so many lines. Though there are no lines, but the alphabets written in such a manner, they are written in such a manner that they create lines. Okay, if it is written the Times of India, so the Times of India is also one line. Okay, so line doesn't mean you can it doesn't mean word to word, but anything which, say, if there are 10 people standing, and if you design a room in such a way that there are 10 tables aligned one after another, that is also one line. So as a designer, you should move towards something extra. You should have an eye for detail, and you have to divide. When you divide the space, it could be a ceiling pattern, it could be a flooring pattern. So lines have to be used in such a manner that they actually, it depends upon what you want to create. You want to break up the space, you want to create the space. See, for example, if you talk about your room, if you make a border in your room, that will definitely reduce the visual area of the room. Okay, so when you, by
Yes, sir.
reducing the visual area of the space, if you create three borders, definitely you will have a feeling that the room is a smaller area. But in case if you have a pattern which is like it's a funneling pattern. Funneling pattern means you have a smaller entry and then you make a pattern which looks broader at the end. So you will create a feeling of vastness. Okay, so lines can be used in various manners in interior spaces. It could be a flooring, it could be ceiling, it could be anything. So lines,
Yes,
definitely
sir.
there are various types of lines. Definitely you can create illusions with lines, straight lines, curved lines, horizontal, vertical, thick, thin, dotted, broken. So I hope you know the meaning of all these lines. So
Yes, ma'am.
they can create various spaces. See, for example, this is a pattern which basically you can create plus minus spaces with the line zone. Though it is a 2D pattern, but it is creating the effect of plus. Okay, so as a
Yes,
designer,
sir.
it is your duty to just not to replicate something, but to create something innovative. Okay, because if
Yes,
you
sir.
talk about interiors is not just using elements, but it is how creatively a designer can mold these elements as per the given space. Okay, see, when
Yes, sir.
these principles are valid anywhere, whether you design an office, whether you design a restaurant, or you design a house, or you design a wall for a residence. Okay, so the
Yes, ma'am.
second element of design is the shape. When you talk about shape, it's basically creating something visual which everybody relates it to. Shapes can be basic regular figures, which we call triangles, circles, and squares. It can be natural. It can be natural shapes also, or it can have iconic icons or some graphic patterns or anything. So when you create a shape, you want the client to relate to that particular thing. The color, it relates to green, okay, eco-friendly environment, and this is something related to transport. It could be anything. It could be a logo for a transport company, or it could be anything where there is movement. Okay, because it could be a car on rent, car on wheels, or anything. Okay,
Okay, yes, sir.
yeah. So when we talk about color, definitely color is a very important part because color psychology affects the mood of the client also. Okay, there are when you talk about the color wheel, there are basically two color wheels which generally people follow. One is the Ostwald color wheel, and the other is the Mansell's color wheel. See, the basic colors are, if you say the primary colors, they are red, green, okay, and yellow. And in between, when you mix primary colors, you get secondary colors, the orange, purple, and the this green. Okay, and when you mix secondary colors, definitely there are other tertiary colors which are evolved out of it. Red and the shades of red, they are basically warm colors, and then there are the colors which are near to the blue in the color wheel, they are cool colors. Then there are certain bright colors, certain nude colors. Nude colors means you mix the colors which are
Yes.
bright. If you mix a little tinge of white in it, you get nude colors. Okay, then primary, secondary, everybody knows. Then there are neutral
Yes,
colors,
ma'am.
then there are complementary colors. Complementary colors means the colors which are opposite in the color. Okay, so color psychology is very important. See, for example, if it is a hospital, you will definitely not prefer a color which is red or near to red, because see, hospitals people associate it with sad feelings and blood. So you should always avoid this red and near to red colors in that case. So definitely the opposite to the red colors are green colors. So which you should prefer. You can always use blue, you can always use green, or you can always use mint green in those areas. Something which is actually in contrast to the red. So especially this is one example. If you consider on the other example, a cafe, you consider it as a hard rock cafe or something like that, where you expect youngsters to come and enjoy and have a party. So that in that place where you need maybe disco lights also, and you need hard music also, and drinks also, so you need the place to be vibrant. So you will definitely not prefer blue colors and all, you will definitely go in for bright colors which are near to the red
Yes,
color.
sir.
Okay, so color psychology plays a very important part, very important part in interiors. Okay, see, these are some of
Yes.
the examples, especially if you going for graphic designs. See, whenever, as you see, interiors is not about just creating places, it is just about what signages and what graphics you put on the walls also. Supposing if you have to
Yes, ma'am.
design a lobby and you have to put a poster, see, you can see various examples of posters. The color contrast in the poster, it itself is very it's very nice, because the you can say the image is coming out. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
all these colors in the poster also, they will affect the background. Now, if you have to put this poster on an orange wall, it will definitely not have a good impact. But if in case if you put it on a yellow wall or a wall which has no base color or a neutral color, it will have more effect. Okay, so when you talk about
Yes, ma'am.
interior, especially the paints and all, the color choice is very important. Now, value
Yes,
is
ma'am.
basically like what is the overall impact you want to give to the space. Okay, every color has got a gradient, every color has got a value. The tints and the tones associated with the colors are very important. Okay, then there
Yes,
is
ma'am.
texture. Texture means there are so many types of materials available in the market. If you talk about physical materials, you get tiles, you get stones, you get rough, rugged textures, you get plaster itself as a different texture, then sand has a different texture, this acoustic boards have different textures, POP has a different texture, fabric has a different texture, even the wall coverings. If you talk about wall paneling, if you put
Yes, ma'am.
laminate or a veneer, they will have a different texture. But on the other hand, if you put carpet or if you put a fabric or any other soft furnishing, they have a different texture. So, what in
Yes, ma'am.
interiors, all these things are very important, especially the fabrics, the furnishings. They play a very important. See, when you talk about residence, let's talk about a simple example like a window. Okay, let's talk about the window dressing. When you talk about the window dressing, basically a window, it has got various parts. First of all is the curtain rod. Okay, you understand the window, na?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when we
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
consider the interior, the window from the interior point of view. See, from the exterior point of view, you will definitely, as an architect, you will design a window. The first thing you will keep in mind is the sill level. You will keep a sill stone, and then maybe you would like to rest the sill with a granite or a marble stone. Okay, and the lintel also, you
Yes,
will
ma'am.
try to fix up the lintel. First of all, you will see what is the material of the lintel. It could be wood, it could be RCC, it could be this ISMB, or it could be brick, or it could be RCB, anything. So once the
Yes,
lintel
ma'am.
is there, so lintel also sometimes what happens is maybe you want to give a framework to the sill stone and to the below part of the lintel. Okay, so and maybe the sides also you would like to finish, especially if you consider a UPVC window. See, windows, first of all, let's talk about a simple thing like a window. First, the window opening, there is a rough opening. Okay, then when you want to finish
Yes,
the
ma'am.
window, there will be, you will have to choose the material. First of all, if you can choose any material, you can have an aluminium window, you can have a UPVC window, or you can have a wooden window, or you can have an MS window, mild steel window, or you can have a simple fixed glass with a wooden frame. Okay, so let us talk about UPVC window, which is generally the in trend these days. So when you talk about UPVC, it is very important that the manufacturer will tell you that okay, give me the finished size. He doesn't want the rough open size. Okay, because again, when you talk about window frames, there are so many types of windows. It could be a casement window, it could be a sliding two track, it could be a sliding three track, anything. So when you want to fix the window, it is very important that you give the final finishing opening, finished opening. Okay, so finished opening. Supposing if you have a, if you have put granite on the sill level also and on the lintel level also and maybe on the sides also, then you'll call the manufacturer. You will give him the size for that frame of that window. Okay, then later on if you
Yes,
want to dress it, as an interior designer, it is important for you to dress the window from inside. Okay, first you will put a curtain
okay,
rod.
ma'am.
When you put a curtain rod, then maybe you would want to hide the curtain rod with a pelmet. Then there you will put a valance, you will put fabric, and then you will tie the curtains with tassels and all. So all these things, the texture in a particular, in just one window, you can see there are so many textures. One is the texture of the sill, that is the granite. Second is the texture of the window frame, which is UPVC, which is plastic. It could be wood also. It could be any other material, aluminium also. Then the third is maybe you will have a iron rod as a pelmet to support the heavy curtain if you want. So that is another texture which you have got. Okay, then is the texture for the valance. Valance will be a soft fabric which will be covering the pelmet. So that will have another texture. Okay, then it will be soft curtain fabric, which will definitely droop down as a drapery. That will have a different texture. And so maybe now the tassels and the ties and the swags which you use, which will have a different texture. So in one window only there are five textures. So and every color is also different because if the framework will be have a different, the UPVC will have white or brown color. The sill can be any color. It could be, if you are using stone, it could be black granite also, or it could be a marble, or it could be any color too. So you can imagine that in such a small space like a window, you can have five or seven textures. So textures play a very important role in interiors because the way you use the textures is very important, especially the interior walls. See, if it is now, you have to see other aspects also, the maintenance part. Okay, the
Yes,
cleanliness and the maintenance part. Supposing if it is a public space, if it is a metro, you just see the small example of a metro station. People, there are so many people walking. The foot count is also too much. So people prefer to walk on a. There is a lot of wear and tear. So for the flooring also they have used granite because it will not go anywhere for 50 years. Okay, and
yes, ma'am.
if you imagine if there is some rugged surface on the wall, if they put a rugged stone or a beautiful tile, which is rugged. So what happens is people will use that space for keeping hands, and they'll make the whole place dirty. So it is the best to use such a material which is hard also, which can easily be washed also, which will not get dirty even if hundreds of people keep their hands on. So texture plays a very important role, and especially let's think for a flooring. For a flooring, there are so many textures available for tiles also. Okay, this meeting is going to end after 5 minutes. We'll join the same link again.
Okay, ma'am.
So texture is one thing for flooring. Supposing if you have a terrace, you can have a terrace cafe. So in the terrace cafe, it could be slippery on some rainy day also. So you will not prefer all those tiles which are slippery. You will have a matte finish tile, or you will have those tiles which have got some rugged texture on. Okay, so sometimes material options, they depend upon what is the functionality of the space, and all these materials like wood, cement, the glitter, the fabric, paint, glass, metal, they all have different textures. Okay, size plays an important part. Sometimes what happens, if there is a clean white board and a black dot on it, that is the focus. Okay, so basically what happens is, you want, whether you want your client to focus the eye on that particular object or not, it depends upon the designer. So size plays a very important part when you have to design. For example, here everybody can see that everybody's eyes towards this airplane. Okay, so space is something. See, when you have to see, for example, this is basically, you are creating positive spaces, you are creating negative spaces, and you are creating sometimes this white background. It creates a frame for the whole space. Okay, so again, this is a framework. So what are the spaces you create for a, there is one subject and there is one background. For example, this is the subject and this is the background. Okay, what kind of spaces you want to create in interiors, that is very important. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
so when you talk about text and font, there are certain things which have to be very, very readable. Sometimes the fonts can be of various types. You must have seen them in computer, what this software also. If you talk about basic, you have modern. There are certain fonts which create a modern outlook. Sometimes it is a classic, it is professional, casual. Sometimes it is aggressive, historical, futuristic. See, if you have to write a diary, so maybe you would like to have a font which is casual. Okay, but if you want to post a letter, which is, or a notice which is going to hundreds of people, it has to be a very professional letter. Okay, you have to prepare a simple text. But if it is, supposing a letter you've got from Gandhiji, you've got somewhere museum, you've got that letter, that has to be in the historical form. So form and the subject, they should relate in interiors. So this will be very important in signages. When you design signages, see, let's take up a small office. So if it is a corporate office, at least there will be signages in that. Reception will be written, toilets will be written. And sometimes what happens is, in corporate interiors, what happens is, people have got different teams for a particular job. It could be a marketing team. The office can have a administration team. Then one will be a design team. One will be an estimation team, or one will be a just financial team. So every team, maybe they'll have different colors also, and different names will be written on the areas. So for that, signages are very important, and they definitely come as a part of interior space. Okay, so you cannot isolate fonts with the interior. Okay, see, this word hello, it has been written in so many fonts. Personally, particularly this hello and all, it takes time for anybody to read. Okay, so this thing is not advisable. Contrast, it basically, you can show contrast by means of colors, by textures. See, for example, this. Okay, the size, the texture,
Okay.
value, and the color. Then there are certain things like, sometimes, for example, if you create a space like this cannot be identified. The blue one cannot be identified. People will just miss
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
Okay, so as an interior designer, it is very important for, if you want to design a door or an entry door also, it is very important that you see what you want the other person to understand. Okay, repetition
Okay, ma'am.
and rhythm, they again are very important principles, because you have to create relationship between spaces. at least all the spaces in particular area cannot go haywire. You have to create some kind of common patterns. For example, if you talk about music also, there are certain beats, there are certain, you can say, what do you call them? There are certain, the music has a particular pattern, it has got certain rhythms which repeats after four stanzas in a song. Okay, so by rhythm and repetition they are related, and they help you to identify that particular area. Song also you can identify with the beat. Okay, so when you talk about spaces, like here the curves, they help you to create similarity between areas. Okay, for example, you can see this,
Yes.
it will help you to create similarity. Some, though they are not same, but they look as if they are a part of one space. Okay, so this is very important
Okay.
to talk about rhythm and repetition. This is again repetition. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
so alignment. Alignment is also very important. The focus, if you want everybody to think in a straight line, you can do like that. Here, everything is aligned in a straight line pattern. Here, everything is horizontally also aligned. So when you design furniture alignment is very important, because for defining the aisles, it is very important that you align the
Hello?
furniture in whatever
Hello?
pattern.
Hello?
Yes, yes. Tell me. Hello.
Ma'am, your
Yes.
voice is not. Yeah, ma'am, now it's audible. You were not
Okay.
audible.
Okay. I didn't change any setting. So what happens is, when you have to align spaces, the furniture, especially in a room, you have to think about the focus. You have to think about what is the circulation space and what is the furniture space. So when you design a space, or when you do space planning, this alignment principle you have to follow. Okay, you can see few examples of alignment. Okay, these are all
Yes,
alignment
ma'am.
examples. Okay, it's like everything is aligned accordingly. This is a regular pattern, which is maybe it is repeated after few lines also. See, this is again alignment. At least you can see the
Okay.
aisles, you can see the circulation spaces. If this is a corporate office, at least you can say that this is a team which has been allotted a bigger area. This space has been allotted to one area, and these black ones are the circulation spaces. You can see the movement pattern. Okay, especially in, you can also consider it
Okay.
as a retail space. Then, if it is a store, supposing if it is a store, so maybe you can have different space allocation. Maybe you can give this to grocery, maybe you can give this space to cosmetics, this can be given to kids zone, it can be made as a kids zone, this can be accessories, this can be some you can say small items, this can be stationery, and this could be clothing and all. So this is basically the allotment of spaces, which is basically based on the functional requirement of the space and alignment also. Okay, again, alignments, margins play a very important role. You can see this is the framework, this is the margin. Okay, by proximity, which means see, there is a science called proxemics and kinetics. Proxemics means how close you are with that, with the other person, or you can say with the other space. Like they are in proximity. Okay,
Okay,
proxemics
ma'am.
means what is the distance between two areas. Okay, they are very far,
Yes,
but they
ma'am.
are in close proximity. Okay. So by proximity, the literal meaning of proximity is what is the distance between two areas which you want to focus on. So then there are other things. So you can say contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. These are the few principles which you have to take care for graphics. We'll join the same link after few minutes. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
This is less than a minute left. We'll join again. Bye. I'll disconnect.